Today on Dragon Dreams, I have part 2 of my video on alignments. This time I look at the neutral alignments of the 9 alignment system. Hello, my name is Ivan. Welcome back to Dragon Dreams. Last time, I argued that good people would not be lawful good or chaotic good. Instead, they'd be in favor of a good social order. Well, mostly, they might try to improve it or something, and be opposed to a tyrannical one. Likewise, evil people would not be lawful evil or chaotic evil. If they're living in a good society, they'd be criminals and try to evade the law. Or maybe they would try to overthrow that good society and make themselves the tyrant of a tyrannical one. If they're in a tyranny, however, they'd try to rise to the top for their own nefarious reasons. So, I concluded that I didn't think it made sense to have lawful good and neutral good and chaotic good. In other words, not to apply the lawful chaotic axis to good or to evil, but rather just to have good and evil. Today, I'm going to tackle the same thing, only with neutrality. So I'm going to put the video for that last one in the description below. I'm also going to put a video that I did several months ago on the 3 alignment system, because as we'll see, there are some things that I said in that one that I'm also going to bring in to this one. But first, let me define some terms, just like I did last time. So to rehash, I'm going to do good, evil, lawful, and chaotic. And then I'm going to add in neutral. Good, as I defined it last time, is doing what's best for everyone. Evil, as I defined last time, is doing what's best to serve your own selfish desires at the expense of others, being willing to harm others to get those desires met, no matter how disturbing those desires may be. Lawful is the belief that any society that is ordered, be it a good society or a tyrannical one, is the goal. So you're happy with either one. You don't care whether it's a good society or a tyrannical one. You're just happy that it's ordered. Chaotic is the opposite of that. It is being opposed to all social orders, good or tyrannical. Now I'm going to define neutral. Neutral, in fact, is not actually played out, in my experience anyway, as being about balance. It's often defined as balance in game systems and rulebooks, but I've never actually in practice seen it be about balance. I don't actually see players playing a neutral character and saying, let's see, there's a little bit too much good in this world. I think we really need a little more evil. There's a little bit too much chaos. I think we need to add a little law. Perfect. No, in fact, I think the way people play neutral characters, on my own observation, pretty much 100% of the time that I've observed them, is that a neutral character is self-centered, but not necessarily selfish. It's maybe a distinction. Have kind of a live and let live attitude, not interested in doing what's best for everybody, but rather interested in meeting their own goals without interfering with those of others. And their goals are often a lot more practical than an evil person's goals, so they're probably not likely to have sick and twisted desires that, they certainly wouldn't harm other people in order to get. So now let me look at the neutral alignments. By this I mean lawful neutral, total neutrality, and chaotic neutral. I've already covered neutral good and neutral evil. And I think basically by saying that good people would not be lawful or chaotic, it would depend on the circumstances, I think that kind of pretty much implies that they wouldn't be neutral good, they'd just be good. Or they would be neutral evil, they'd just be evil. So I'm not going to cover that. I think that while it's possible that you might have a lawful neutral or chaotic neutral character, both types of characters would basically be crazy. Because I don't think any sane person would support a tyrannical regime just because it's orderly. It would be bad for you and your family. How are you going to achieve your goals in your live and let live worldview if this, like, you're in Nazi Germany or Sauron's empire? Because Sauron won. Okay? And likewise, I don't think that any sane person is going to support no regime at all. Why would you do that? Your family would get murdered by bandits and then robbed after they're dead. You certainly want some sort of order to be in place in order to make sure that you got your live and let live goals met, which would require having a good enough order, maybe kind of a neutral sense of order, to have that in place. All right, so you wouldn't just be lawful neutral or chaotic neutral. It would depend on the circumstances. You're going to be chaotic if you're in a tyranny, and you're going to be lawful if you are in a good or kind of neutral society that lets you achieve those goals. Okay. And so I'm going to bring in a little bit of philosophy because I love philosophy. And I'm going to bring in Thomas Hobbes. So there's this English philosopher, Thomas Hobbes, from the 17th century. He wrote this book called The Leviathan. And in that book, he basically said that he thinks the reason why human beings create governments is because none of us want to be murdered or robbed or things like that. And the best possible way to ensure that we're not murdered and robbed and things like that, for Hobbes, is to form a government in which murder and theft and things like that are illegal for everybody, including ourselves, so we can't do it either. And by agreeing that we can't do it either, we have this justice system and a police force and all that kind of stuff in place to preserve that. So I think that that's the kind of approach that a sane neutral character would take. In conclusion, I don't think it makes sense to have the lawful chaotic axis at all. In this past 2 videos, I've pointed out why good and evil people would not be lawful or chaotic, and now I've pointed out why neutral people would not be lawful or chaotic. Now, it doesn't make sense to just have neutral good, neutral neutral, and neutral evil, because you can just drop the neutral off. I mean, as I said, it's not that they're neutral on the lawful chaotic axis. It's that in all 3 cases, people would lean more lawful or more chaotic in response to different ways that society was organized because of their goals from being good, neutral, or evil. So, I'm going to get to some ideas about how we can fix some of the problems with alignment in a later video, But for now, I'm going to leave you with that thought. So what do you think about this? Tell me in the comments. And until next time, as always, happy dreaming, everybody.